Hey there, this is Mr. McTavish, and this is how to send your sign to the CNC machine. So here's my sign. I'm in onShape, and there's my part. Obviously, I would name that, but I can go in and right-click and export. And if I export it, I am going to choose the ACIS format. Give it a file name, and click OK. And that's going to download the sign. So while we're waiting for the sign to download, we have to do some other work. So in Google Classroom, there's the CNC sign, and there's my GitHub files. So we need to download those files. So open them up in GitHub, and this green download button, just click that, download the zip file. There it is. You click the little arrow, show in folder, and it's going to open up in File Explorer. And this red extract, we're just going to select that and extract all. So you need to pay attention. That's probably for you. It's going to be your H My Documents folder. So you need to keep track of where that is. So slightly different from mine, but that's just pay attention to where yours gets downloaded. Now we're in Fusion 360. So in Fusion 360, we need to open. So we click the little file icon right there, select open. And it's going to pop open a dialog box in a few moments. At some point today, it will open up a dialog box. So here's the dialog box you're going to open from my computer. And there's the sign that we just saved. So we'll open that up, and we should see our sign in a few moments. With Fusion 360, I just want to point out you do have the view cube, so you can use that so that you can orient yourself with your sign. So I'm just going to flip it around here. And you can use your scroll wheel to zoom out and zoom in. The directions are opposite what they are in onShape. I don't know why. You can also click the scroll wheel to pan, and if you hold down Alt while you click the scroll, if you hold down Shift while you click the scroll wheel, you can rotate your view. So if you left click, you're going to get some other options and stuff, and you can just hit Escape to get out of there. Okay, so with your sign, you change from model to manufacturer. In the manufacturer, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to click this button, which is your setup button. And when you have the setup button selected, it's going to let you set your origin. Now, in our on our CNC router, if I'm standing at the CNC router, the X is right, the Y is forward, and the Z is up. So this is actually pretty good. With rectangular signs, it's much easier to select a corner so that you can find your corner. If it's a circular sign, it's easier to set the center. You'll notice that there's 3 dots, so you want the top one, which is the top of your material, because you can find that very easily. So that's in position. Sometimes you will need to go in and change the orientation if your X and Y are pointing the other direction. Sometimes you'll need to select the x-axis, and which x-axis do you want as x. I've already got it selected, so that's fine. Sometimes if you do that, you'll need to then flip either the x or y or both so that it's oriented the right way. So red should be pointing right, green should be pointing forward, blue should be pointing up. So that is set up the way that I want it in that corner. Okay, so now I've got my setup done. Now I'm going to right click on the setup and create from template. Now, you're going to need to click select template. I've already done mine. And you're going to need to find that template from those files that you downloaded before. So if I went to that folder, there's the folder, there's the CNC templates, and I would find it there. Once you've imported them, you then can just right click and you'll see them. So the VBit 60 degrees for small letters, that's the one. I am going to be adding one for the VBit 90 degrees, which is for bigger letters. So I'll be adding that tomorrow. This little arrow beside the setup, there is my engrave. I can right click and edit. In the edit, the first thing is my tool and my feeds and speeds. I don't need to make any changes. The geometry, I will need to change. Now, it's really important. Zoom into your letter, and you'll notice when I'm clicking the A, I'm clicking the top of the A, not the bottom. So focus on clicking the top contours and just go through and click the letters. And for letters like A and B, you'll notice that I'm wanting to click the outside and the inside part so that I get it. This will tell you the chains. If I accidentally click something that I don't want, I can click it and click the garbage can to dispose of it. So if I've made a mistake, I can easily fix it, and then I can keep going. So you want to be very careful, take your time. I would every once in a while click OK so that way it saves your work. So once you've done that, I'm going to go back in. I'm just going to highlight a few things. Number one, the heights. So this will engrave at a depth of -5 millimeters, which seems to work very well for what we're doing. So I'm going to leave that. The rest of the options you don't need to change. Now, in here, you can see with my A, what it's doing is that it's engraving 2 lines in here. This is because this letter A, I believe it's about 4.5 inches thick. So it's a really big letter, much too big for this bit. So the bit can't do it in one pass. It does 2 passes. This will result in material in the middle. So the problem is I would need to use my 90-degree bit, which is bigger, and reset this. So pay attention to that. If it's one line, and let's just add, I've got a bunch of different letters here of different sizes. So I'm going to pick one of these really small ones. So here's the W. And you'll notice once it's loaded up, with the W, it's only got the one line because it's much smaller letters, so that will work out really nicely with what we're doing. So pay attention to the line. Once you have it in there, you click the Simulate button, which is this button that looks like a joystick. And what I like to do is zoom out so I can see everything. And I like to set my tool to be transparent so that it's not, and my stock I like to fill in. So now when I run this, it's going to engrave it, and you can see what the end result is going to look like. And you can see there's that little bit of material in between. That's what's going to look kind of funky. So you got to watch your letter sizes. So, but if I look down at the W worked out really nice because the size of the bit is perfect for that size letter. So now that I've closed it, now I'm going to click G1, G2, which is my post process. In the post process, you will need to click the 3 dots to find the configuration folder. So those folders that you downloaded before. So there's my, whoops. So that will be in your H drive, my documents. So you're looking for the MB Laguna CNC folder, and you're going to click Open. Once you do that, it will find the HHS Laguna folder, no problem, and there we're good. Here, you need your program name or number. So you should, for your program name, put your initials so it's easy to find. Remember, keep your program name short. The other thing is the program comment. So which bit are you using? So this is the 60-degree engraving bit. So basically, if you're doing with our class this year, if you're doing small letters, you're going to use the 60-degree engraving bit. If you're doing larger letters, you're going to do the 90-degree engraving bit. So you have the information, and click Post, and that's going to create a text file that you're going to save. Pay attention to where you save it. And once you save it, here is the text file. And as I mentioned in class, this is GCode. So GCode is basically just a series of codes. So it tells you to go to the X0, Y0. Then it says set the speed of the spindle to 18,000 RPMs. Move to this position in X and Y. Move your Z down. And then you start engraving, and it starts moving through. So that's great. Save that. The next stage is not in this video, but basically that file you now need to copy onto your memory stick, and that's the file that you need to take over to the CNC machine. You should have some notes when you're setting up the CNC machine. What's the name of the file? What bit are you using? Where is the origin? So that's where doing a drawing from onShape is really, really important, because then you can point out the origin. And I'm just going to quickly do that. If my computer doesn't freeze. Anyways, there we go. Create drawing. And with the drawing, we don't need 4 views, so we'll just stick to 2 views, ANSI B inch, and if you need to go through the templates to find it. So marking the origin is really important. I'm just waiting for it to load. Probably should have used a drawing with only a few letters instead of all of these. So instead of the front view, I'm going to switch that to my top view. And once I click that on the screen, turn off the toolbar. There's a call out, so I'm going to click that corner right there. And I'm going to type origin. Oops. So that way I know exactly where the origin is. So there's the origin. I'm going to put a note. So what size bit? Degree engraving bit. And I would add obviously my part name and everything, and I'd make sure that I'm checked and approved before I set up to start cutting. So that's everything, and hope that helps out.